आवाज आ रही है? आवाज आ रही है ना?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस about the cheese which is very much popular among the different variety of cheese of the world. You know, the cheddar cheese production is number one in the world, followed by mozzarella cheese, and Swiss cheese. Swiss cheese is actually the number third in production. So you can say Swiss cheese ranked third in the world, next only to cheddar and mozzarella. So let us know about the Swiss cheese. So you know that Swiss cheese is originated in the Imi Valley in Switzerland around 15th century. It is also known as Emmental cheese, and it is comes under the hard variety of cheese. It is known by the presence of shiny eye with a smooth waxy texture and sweet nutty taste with mild flavor. Besides USA and Switzerland, many countries of the world like Italy, Finland, Denmark, you can say Germany and Argentina are also known to produce a excellent quality Swiss cheese. But the flavor, the aroma, what we get from the origin of Ime Valley, we can never be actually compare in the remaining parts of the world. So it is reported that that a specific grass is actually available in the Imi Valley, which produces typical cheese flavor. That being the probable region, you can say probable region that no country has duplicated exactly the flavor and body and texture characteristics of emmental cheese which we get from the Switzerland. So you can say that we can get the best quality sweet cheese from the Switzerland, and still no country can compare that cheese what they originated in the Emmental Valley, that is Imi Valley of the Switzerland. So that is the specific grass that is actually may contribute. It has been noticed by the several workers that the Imam Valley, the containing that grass, which when the animal fed and take the milk from that for the preparation of Swiss cheese, then that the specific typical uh, typical flavor we can never be duplicated by the other countries. So this is the beauty of the emmental cheese which is got from the Switzerland. So Swiss cheese have a very excellent sliceable texture, regular round holes, dull to brilliant appearance, and it contains 45% fat on the dry matter basis. And it contains 45% fat, minimum fat on the dry matter basis. It have mild nut-like taste, and it should be ripened at least for 60 days to get the flavor, a specific flavor of this cheese before the consumption. So you can say it is almost 2 months required in order to get the typical flavor of the cheese. So we already told you that the Swiss production ranked third in the world, next only to cheddar and mozzarella. So we can also get the cheese, this type of cheese from the Indian origin, because buffalo which are actually producing almost half of the milk production from India. So that milk is actually used for the preparation of good quality Swiss cheese at NDRI Karnal. And also the study has also been done by the national by the Dairy Science College Anand for the preparation of Swiss cheese from the buffalo milk. So this is the Swiss cheese that is the source, the famous book of cheese, which is written by one of the professor of Dr. Upadhyay, who was actually teaching and teaching cheese technology at Dairy Science College Anand, and he has long experience on cheese, working on cheese. There are so many students they have guided, and it has exposure about the cheese. Mm. So he's one of the prominent person in the country. So now he's retired. So he has worked a lot in the on the mozzarella cheese, Swiss cheese, all the different type of variety of cheese. So here we can say that when we see the composition of the Swiss cheese, we can simply say that it contains almost 35 to 37% moisture, and it having 3 to 5% ash, and it retains around 30 to 29.5 to 35.5% of fat, and also containing 1 to 1.4% of the salt, and it is actually rich in protein, and it may found in the range of 27 to 28%. And I have already told you that it has contained minimum 45% fat in the dry matter. So it may be depends upon the milk, what type of milk we are going to take or going to manufacture of mozzarella cheese, the Swiss cheese, sorry. So here we can say the most of the Swiss type cheese undergo more or less profound propionic acid fermentation. You have also hear the name Propionibacteria. This is the only cheese where we can also brought about fermentation by the propionic acid bacteria, because this is the cheese which requires addition of such type of bacteria along with the other bacteria. So we can say that this cheese actually grow because propionic acidia actually grow under anaerobic condition. That means absence of oxygen and using calcium lactate as a substrate. Calcium lactate is used as a substrate for the growth of the propionic acid bacteria, and under there that is the fermentation of is being done by the presence of propionic acid bacteria, and the end products are corresponding propionate, acetic acid, water, and carbon dioxide. So we can say that the decomposition which take place, and we are finally get the end product in form of propionic acid, acetic acid, water, and carbon dioxide, which actually contributes to the flavor of this peculiar type of cheese. So you can say here the end product are corresponding propionate, acetate, water, and carbon dioxide. So now we can see you the that part of the CO2 may be produced by decarboxylation of amino acids. So decarboxylation of amino acid, the two type of amino acid like tyrosine and arginine by the enterobacter. And due to the high salt concentration and low pH, low pH, 50% of lactate is mobilized by propionic acid, and lactate fermentation is more intense in the center than in the periphery. So in the center we can get the highest concentration of such type of metabolites which can contribute to the flavor of the cheese. So let us discuss about the method of manufactures of this cheese. So you can see here the method of manufacture of Swiss cheese. First of all, we are taking milk. We are taking fresh milk, and the milk is already meets the criteria of what it is required for the other variety of cheese, what we have studied in preparation of cheddar cheese, preparation of Gouda cheese, preparation of mozzarella cheese. So the same quality of milk is also required for the Swiss cheese making. है ना? And after collection of milk, the milk is actually undergo with filtration or by clarification, and so that we can actually the remove the extraneous material and or the invisible dirt or others which are actually adhere with the fat. So we can actually remove the extraneous matters and other adhere particles which is actually present with the milk. So we can actually remove that things from the milk. So here after the filtration, you can say after filtration and purification, that we are go for esternization. So you can esternize the milk, because I have already told you that this is prepared first prepared in the Imeni Valley of Switzerland, and then the demand of such type of cheese is very more than USA is also preparing such type of milk, and they are actually prepared from the cow milk. So they are actually standardized the casein fat ratio in the range of 0.88. So you can see here that the percentage fat is very less in comparison to the cheddar cheese or mozzarella cheese, or you can say Gouda cheese. So we can standardize the milk so that we can get the casein fat ratio in the range of 0.88 to 0.89. So we can standardize the milk on, we can, when we prepared, it is also prepared from the mixed milk. That means if you are prepared from the buffalo milk, then definitely we have to standardize the milk at this level, so that we can get the same characteristics of flavor, almost same characteristics of flavor what we are actually getting from the cow milk. So after extraction, and extraction is also necessary, because there is a regulation that you have to meet the minimum fat percentage in the Swiss cheese. So to meet the legal requirement also, we are actually sterilize the milk so that we can actually meet the specific legal standard, so that we can export. So if we have to export, then you have to meet the criteria of the Codex Alimentary Commission, whatever laid down for the Swiss cheese. So if you are not exporting, then you have to meet the guidelines of the FSSAI. So after extraction, we can go for heat treatment of the milk. So pasteurization of milk is actually done in also what we have applied for the other variety of cheese. The purpose of the pasteurization is almost same what we have applied in the case of cheddar cheese, Gouda cheese, mozzarella cheese, or any other cheese ripened variety of cheese. So heat treatment, the same things which is also being done or applied. And you can go for batch method, then definitely you can utilize the temperature 63 degrees centigrade for 30 minutes. And you can also go for STST pasteurization depending upon the infrastructure available in your plant. So the milk is preheated, that is milk is actually heat treated, go for pasteurization around 60 degrees centigrade for 30 minutes. And after that, we can actually cool the milk. So we can cool the milk according to the type of culture we have to add. So we are actually using the culture, the starter culture, already you know that they are selected strains of microorganisms. They are responsible for the flavor development or acid development in the cheese, and ultimately leads to the flavor aroma in the finished products. So starter culture, we are actually using a starter culture generally Streptococcus thermophilus, Lactobacillus delbrueckii, subspecies bulgaricus, and Propionibacteria cerevisiae. So the concentration of the Streptococci thermophilus, we are actually adding at the rate of 1%. However, we can use Lactobacillus bulgaricus just 0.045% of the milk. And I have already told you this type of cheese also required the special type of that is required special fermentation in the presence of Propionibacteria. So Propionibacteria cerevisiae is actually used at the rate of 0.025%. So this is actually required, and that is actually added at the temperature around 30 to 32 degrees centigrade. So just after addition of starter culture, we are getting the we can allow the milk for the ripening. The ripening means that is actually there is a consistent increase in increase, you can say consistent increase in acidity, and they are actually done at 32 degrees centigrade for 55 minutes. And after ripening, that you can say that is the period, that is you can say the period which is actually required for proper action of the proper renating of the curd. So proper action of renate is only possible when we can actually get the desired acidity in the cheese milk. So renating is actually done after getting the acidity of the milk to the desired level. And we can say that after the setting of the curd, then we can have you here any problem?
No, sir.
So after 55 minutes, we can get the desired acidity. Then we can go for renating. So renating means that is the addition of starter culture. Either you can add in the Western world they are using calf rennet, but here we are actually not using the calf rennet. And now even the Western parts, they are also using the Muto rennet. That is the Mucor rendit, Mucor pusillus lendit variety of the rennet. They are actually being used in the preparation of Swiss cheese also. So if you are using Muto rennet, then we can use at the rate of 1.5 gram per 100 liter of milk. So here you might maybe notice that when we are using the Muto rennet, that is the microbial rennet, then the M. pusillus variety lindit, that is M. pusillus means M means Mucor, M. pusillus lindit variety lindit. Then they are actually marketed by the different trade name, that is Muto rennet, Henniles, and you can say Reniles. These are the trade name of trade name which we are actually exporting this type of rennet from the Japan. And here we can also add, in the case of rennet, you can also use another rennet, that is fromage. Fromage is also being used by the different western parts of the country, and they are using the fromage at the rate of 2.5 gram per 100 kg of milk. So they are using fromage quite slight higher side, that is at the rate of 2.5 gram per 100 kg of the milk. So after adding the rennet, then we can allow the curd for another 30 minutes, and then we can go for cutting. So we are also using the same knife what we are actually applied for the other variety of cheeses. That is the vertical knife or horizontal knife are being used to get the desired or same size of the curd for the uniform removal of the water away from the cheese curd. So we are actually cutting, and after that, after cutting the curd, you can actually foreworking means here, that is the foreworking means continuous slow working for 40 minutes without increase in temperature. So here this you can notice that foreworking means that is we are actually allow the slow stirring of the curd for 40 minutes at temperature 32 degrees centigrade without increase in temperature. So there is no increase in temperature for working. Here in the case of cheddar cheese, you are actually required to increase the temperature every 4 minutes. Increase the temperature 1 degree by 1 degree centigrade for every 4 minutes. So here we are actually not actually do the same things. That is here, that is completely different. We are actually allow slow stirring of the curd for 40 minutes without increasing temperature. So here we are actually done for working at 32 degrees centigrade for 40 minutes. And then after that, we are go for drainage of only 1/3 of the way. We can actually drain the curd, then the way only 1/3 of the way. So after partial removal of the whey from the curd, then we can go for cooking. So then we can go for cooking, and cooking is actually done from that temperature, that is 32 degrees centigrade to 52 degrees centigrade within 30 minutes. So you can increase the temperature slowly, and you can, when we reach the temperature of around 52 degrees centigrade, then you can just stop the heating, and within 30 minutes you can stop the cooking process, and then after that we can go for stirring, that is the stirring at 52 52 degrees centigrade for 50 minutes, and then the curd is actually transferred into the hoop. The hooping of the curd takes place, and that means that the curd is actually transferred into the mold, and you can say in the hoop, and after that you can go for pressing of the curd. Then the pressing is actually done in 2 phases. Pressing is actually done in 2 phases, and 2 phases is that initial pressing and final pressing. So in the initial pressing, we are allowed the pressure around 0.6 kg, 0.06 kg prati centimeter square for 60 minutes. So pressing is actually done in 2 ways. Initial pressing, the pressure is around 0.06 kg prati centimeter square for 30 minutes, for 60 minutes, and final pressing is being done at 0.1 kg prati centimeter square for overnight. That means allow the pressing up to the 12 hours or whole night, overnight. So pressing is actually done, and after pressing overnight, then the curd is actually transferred after the proper pressing. That is actually sufficient when we allow the curd for overnight pressing, and then after that we can transfer the curd, the cheese blocks into the brine solution. That the brine solution is prepared in the presence of sterilized water, and they are actually adding salt, and when we get the concentration of salt is 23%, then you can say the maximum solubility of the brine, maximum solubility of salt is how much? When we 26% we reach the, then we cannot, that is completely saturated. So we will add the salt, then you cannot getting the concentration more than 26%. So 23% of the salt, 23% brine solution is actually required, and you can just keep the cheese cubes, cheese blocks in the brine solution for around 2 days. For around 2 days, that is 48 hours. You can keep the brine solution into the brine solution for 48 hours. Then you can go for cold storage drying. Then you can go for cold storage drying. Then the curd is actually dry for 7 days at 8 to 10 degrees centigrade with 85% relative humidity. So that is we can say that the curd is actually the cold drying is actually required And it is generally performed at 8 to 10 degrees centigrade in the presence of 85% relative humidity and around 5 days, 7 days. And after cold drying of the this cheese, then you can go for paraffining. So paraffining is also being done in the case of cheddar cheese. But nowadays we are actually not paraffin the cheese cubes, because the vacuum packaging is actually also being recommended instead of the paraffining. So paraffining, the purpose of paraffining is just to check the moisture removal from the curd. Then that is the main purpose of the paraffining, or you can say the vacuum packaging of the curd, is that we can actually try to maintain the moisture level in the curd, so that the presence of residual starter culture rennet, and that is the propionibacteria residues, so that we can actually undergo, or we can actually maintain the proteolysis or lipolysis, glycolysis in the steady rate, and ultimately leads to the different flavor of the cheese. So we are actually paraffining the curd, and after that we can hold the cheese block on the hot ripening room, where we are actually maintain the temperature 22 degrees centigrade for it with 85% relative humidity, and the curd is actually allowed for 6 to 8 weeks. And you can, after 6 to 8 weeks, then that is also go for the cold curing. Cold curing means just transfer of the cheese cubes or cheese blocks into the cold storage, where we are actually maintain the temperature 10 degrees centigrade or less than 10 degrees centigrade. You already know that storage is generally we are actually maintaining the temperature 8 to 10 degrees centigrade. So cold curing, you can say. So this is the only cheese where we are actually go for two type of ripening, that is curing, that is hot curing, and followed by cold curing. And cold curing is actually done for 3 to 4 weeks. 3 to 4 weeks. After 3 to 4 weeks, we are actually getting the desired level of flavor in the curd. So this is the things we have to discuss, that the specific variety of cheese. And this is actually the Swiss cheese we can also prepare from buffalo milk or from the mixed milk. So the quality of Swiss cheese will never be get what we get from the Emini Valley of the Switzerland. So this is the differences we can say. We can get such type of cheese from the this method of manufactures, and later we will discuss when we see the flavor of the cheese. The flavor of the cheese is two types. So one is volatile compounds, and volatile compounds includes volatile acids, primarily and secondary alcohol, methyl ketones, aldehydes, esters, lactones, alkanes, aromatic hydrocarbons, and different sulfur and nitrogen containing compounds. When we will see the non volatile compounds, which actually consisting of peptides, peptones, free amino acids, amines, organic and inorganic salts, and fats. So this is the things which actually contributes to the specific flavor of the Swiss cheese. So it has been reported that volatile fatty acid in cheese is generally containing the 167 milligram acetic acid, 344 milligram propionic acid, and 18 milligram butyric acid, and 30 milligram higher fatty acids. And in the 100-gram cheese, after hot curing after hot curing, that is the hot curing is being done at 6 to 8 weeks. So this flavoring compounds is present just after hot curing. And after 144 days onwards, the corresponding value of the cheese, they are actually retaining 290 gram acetic acid, 630 milligram propionic acid, and 38 milligram butyric acid, and 50 milligram higher fatty acid respectively. A group of amino acids, sweet amino acids are like glycine, alanine, and proline, and serine, and threonine. है ना? Of course, proline is actually responsible for the sweet taste of the Swiss cheese. So proline is actually responsible for the such type of cheese. You can say ठीक है? Okay, we will now. Have you any query? You can ask. You can ask if you have any query. You can ask. हाँ, कुछ पूछना है और?
सर स्विस
हाँ हाँ बोलो.
सर स्विस चीज को 20 डिग्री सेल्सियस पे ही क्यों कूल किया जाता है?
हाँ, तो स्विस चीज को जो हॉट क्यूरिंग करते हैं, जो हमने बताया कि जो प्रोपाइनिक एसिड बैक्टीरिया है, प्रोपाइनिक एसिड बैक्टीरिया which actually contributes propionate acetic acid, CO2, which actually required for the specific getting the specific flavor of the cheese. तो इसमें क्या होता है कि जब हम उस टेम्परेचर पे नहीं करेंगे ना, तो जो हम जो कल्चर डाले हैं दे विल एक्चुअली नॉट ग्रो, है ना? अगर ये ग्रो नहीं करेगा, बिकॉज दैट इज द हॉट क्यूरिंग जो हम करते हैं, दे एक्चुअली प्रोवाइड द मतलब एम्पल एटमॉस्फेयर for the growth of that type of bacteria, which ultimately leads to the different biochemical changes in the curd, and which leads to the different formation of different flavoring compound जो हमने बताया कि प्रोपाइनिक एसिड, एसिटिक एसिड, है ना, ये एमाइल अल्कोहल, ketones, formaldehyde, there are so many flavoring compounds they are actually we are getting obtained. If we are not maintaining the temperature, then definitely we will not getting the same flavor, है ना?
Yes.
So that is why we are go for hot curing. This is the only cheese where we can actually apply hot curing. ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
Okay, have you any query? You can ask. Today we are getting 18 people and 2 are still more waiting, but this is very bad practice that you are हाँ राजकुमार बोलो. अच्छा राजकुमार जी बताइए. हाँ हाँ क्लास ले रहे थे, क्लास ले रहे हैं. हाँ मैं तुरंत फोन करता हूँ आपको, अभी खत्म हो रहा है. तो और कुछ पूछना है?
No, sir.
हाँ तो इसको अटेंडेंस भी भेज देना तुम लोग. आई थिंक दैट इज इनफ फॉर टुडे. किसी को नहीं पूछना है ना कुछ?